In June 2026, the North Carolina legislature passed Senate Bill 889, pulling Guilford County and 7 others into a mandatory property tax reappraisal moratorium. The initial political narrative focused on a complete property tax freeze. Homeowners were told their new 2026 property values would be set aside, preventing an immediate spike in their current bills. Despite that freeze on values, the Guilford County Board of Commissioners still had to balance the fiscal year 2027 budget. They raised the actual tax rate by 5.9 cents, setting it at 78.95 cents per $100 of valuation. The county is applying this higher rate to your older property values from 2022. For the owner of a median-priced home, that translates to an increase of about $100 on this year's bill. While homeowners were looking at those 2026 bills, the delayed reappraisal notices arrived in mailboxes on August 15th. These notices reflect the actual market conditions the county observed. In Guilford, the average residential property value jumped roughly 50%, moving the countywide median from $171,000 to over $283,000. These new values were stripped from the 2026 bill, but they remain the legal foundation for the 2027 tax cycle. This comparison shows the current bill alongside the projected 2027 bill. The delta between your 2022 value and the new 2026 value represents your future tax liability. Even if the rate drops next year, it will be multiplied by a significantly higher base. Senate Bill 889 functions as a 12-month delay, leaving the 2026 value spikes waiting for you on the following year's bill. The 12-month delay creates a psychological barrier to taking action. It is difficult to spend time contesting an assessment that won't impact your bank account until next summer. Deciding whether to appeal requires a strict return on investment analysis. You have to weigh the immediate effort of the process against the long-term financial consequences of accepting the county's number. We can plot these options on a chart, measuring your effort on the horizontal axis against the actual financial impact on the vertical axis. The path of least resistance sits in the bottom right quadrant. Ignoring the notice requires zero effort today. Taking no action means you are automatically accepting the county's mass appraisal algorithm as an accurate reflection of your home's worth. If you don't appeal, the 2026 value is legally locked in. Because Guilford's next full reappraisal isn't until 2032, this number will govern your taxes for 6 years. An assessment error of $50,000 repeats across 6 separate tax bills, compounding the financial impact every time a new rate is set. Over a 72-month period, an uncorrected algorithmic error slowly drains a homeowner's wealth through small, consistent overpayments that quietly compound over time. These mass appraisals are built on broad data. They frequently overlook specific neighborhood nuances or internal maintenance issues that would lower a property's actual market value. Choosing not to contest the notice now means accepting the county's algorithmic estimate as your fixed tax basis for the next 6 years. The most effective way to protect your equity is to file an informal appeal with the Guilford County Tax Department. This high-yield action requires upfront time, but can lead to substantial savings over the 6-year cycle. To build a successful case, you need 3 pieces of evidence: 3 to 5 recent comparable sales, an independent appraisal, and photos documenting property condition issues. Timing is critical. The window for informal appeals opens the day notices are mailed on August 15th and closes quickly thereafter. Presenting hard evidence forces a human assessor to review your file, allowing your specific data to override the county's automated baseline. There is real friction in this process. You will spend time gathering data and may pay several $100s for an appraisal during a year when your taxes are technically frozen. However, taking the informal route right now is a much simpler process than waiting for a formal board appeal. A formal Board of Equalization and Review appeal carries a much higher legal and evidentiary burden, making it a difficult path if you miss the informal deadline. A successful informal appeal provides a legally binding adjustment to your home's baseline value that remains in effect for the next 6 years. Gathering the right evidence today for a bill that arrives next year is the single highest yield hourly investment you can make in 2026. Active buyers in the triad market are navigating a particularly complex environment under the freeze. In Greensboro and High Point, homes are selling right now based on tax numbers that are about to reset. Many lender pre-approvals use the old 73-cent rate or project payments based on frozen 2022 values, which underestimates the true cost of ownership. In North Carolina, the due diligence period is short and the fees are non-refundable. You could lose thousands of dollars if you don't verify the tax math before your contingency period ends. This decision tree maps both sides of the transaction. For buyers, the path leads to a mandatory tax audit. You must demand the seller's reappraisal notice before closing. Failing to model your 2027 escrow on that new value triggers a massive shortage notice next June. If you are currently listing your home, look at the seller's branch of the tree. The 2026 tax freeze is a marketing asset. You can use the lower current tax bill to show buyers that the immediate cost of owning your home is more affordable than they might expect in a reappraisal year. To keep a deal together, you must be transparent. Providing the reappraisal notice and a custom market analysis upfront prevents a buyer from walking away when they discover the 2027 math during due diligence. Whether you are buying, selling, or holding, Senate Bill 889 bought you exactly 12 months. Use this window to verify your math before the 2027 reset becomes permanent.